I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is this is the last recipe in the book. So we have finally made it through the entire recipe book. The bad news is this is the last one. So now I need to come up with some new stuff to come up with this thing. Fortunately, there's still a lot about this synth that we haven't talked about, covered. There's all of the sequencing with the 2S version. There are some things that I've learned and things that I've figured out that you can do that make it quite fun to find different patches and things like that. There's some patches that I've come up with that I'm going to eventually turn into a recipe book and put them out there. But this is Snappy ADSR by Victor Morello, a simple and straightforward patch showing how to use the ADSR envelope to control the volume of the signal. The ADSR envelope is used here as a natural compressor where the decay time controls the punch of the envelope. This last one is just like the one from 2 episodes ago, where it was more of a conceptual learn how to use the thing, and then you can use that for other things, so to speak. So you'll see it's a pretty simple sound. And what we want to draw your attention to is the volume. So, as with the one from 2 episodes ago, we're not going to go back to a default patch because this is a pretty simple one. Go back to default, do what the recipe says. It's pretty simple. What we have here, square wave with a little bit of pulse width, a little bit of pulse width modulation based on LFO1, which is kind of like wishy-washy, put wherever. Doesn't really matter. That's not the important part. The important part is what's happening in the ADSR envelope. So the first thing we need to do, make sure your envelope or your filter is open so we can hear everything, because that's a common mistake. Your FM, RM, everything else, nothing else is happening, because we just want to hear the modulation of the volume. What we're going to do is we're going to take the ADSR out, put it into the amplitude modulation, okay, or the AM1, which the attack and decay envelope is pre-wired into the amplitude modulation. So what we're going to do is bypass that connection by putting in our own with the ADSR. Now, if you look at the AD and the ADSR envelopes, they do the same thing, sort of, right? The attack, decay, sustain, release envelope has attack and decay. It also has sustain and release. We'll talk about those in a second. The AD envelope has the attack and decay, but the AD envelope has the ability to go between gate or trigger mode and either play once or continually loop. Now, there's ways to get the ADSR envelope to do the same thing, but that's quite a bit more complicated. But what we're going to do here is take a look at the difference in the envelopes. The attack and decay envelope only has attack and then decay, right? Where the ADSR envelope has attack, decay, sustain, and then release. So what's the difference here? Well, attack is, as we know, as it comes up. That's the same for both of these. Decay is how long does it take for the sound to come back down, okay? Now on the AD envelope, the decay is just how long does it take to go back to 0, right? Whereas here on the ADSR, the decay is how long does it take for the sound to come down, or for the voltage to come down to the sustain point, right? Now, if the sustain's all the way down to the bottom, then it acts exactly like this. And the release does basically nothing, more or less, unless you're using it for something else, then it might. But in this case, not really. Not for the volume. But if you have the sustain up, now the release determines how long it takes for the sustain to then drop off the rest of the way. So you can have a sound with a very short decay and a very long release. Right? So you can hear how it quickly drops, like the level comes up quick, and well, because there's no attack, it starts at 100 and then drops down very quickly, and then it takes forever to tail off, right? That's because I have this release all the way up. If I turn that down, then it just drops off as soon as I let go of the note, right? So again, if we look at this decay and sustain and just leave this alone like this, you can almost hear how the tone, the volume, it like drops quickly and then just kind of hangs out, right? So this is what the recipe means when it says the ADSR envelope is used here as a natural compressor with a decay time controls the punch of the envelope, right? If you think about what a compressor does, when the volume gets to a certain point, the threshold, once it gets to the threshold, the compressor starts to shut, and it has an attack and decay to how quickly the compressor clamps down on your sound. So that's essentially what we're doing here, except that we're just controlling how much the sound actually comes up to begin with. So we don't have to compress it to get that sort of boom thing that you get, that clamping feeling that you get from a compressor, right? So, you know, again, this is another pretty straightforward one, where pretty straightforward patch where we are more talking about the concept and what we can do with it, rather than, you know, making a quote unquote usable patch out of it. No, I mean, you absolutely could take and use this to do something with it. I mean, go for it. But remember, it's the concepts that we're looking at today, right? So where we've been using the ADSR to control how the filter opens and closes, now we're using it to control how the volume comes up and down, right? But you could also use that to control, say, FM. So if we extend the so you can hear how, it's probably really loud, sorry. You can hear how it takes a while to attack up. And it, you know what I mean? Like, it takes a while to attack up, and then it decays to the sustain point very quickly, and then as soon as I let go, it releases. So there you have it. Like, that's how the ADSR envelope really works. And using it to control the amplitude really gives you some fine control over how the sound actually plays. I use this trick a lot whenever I'm doing stuff, because I like having better control over the volume than I do over the filter. I usually like doing weird, wacky stuff with the filter, so I use the ADSR envelope to control the volume a little bit easier. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this one. I hope you enjoyed this series. The best news about this entire thing is that now that I have all these done, I'm going to be going through and putting together a sample pack that you can just take samples, throw them into your sampler. You know, if you don't have the MiniBrute, you know, there's going to be the whole list of all the presets. I'm going to have them set up, except for maybe like Snappy ADSR and the other one, because it just doesn't make much sense to. Those are more utilitarian. Hey, this is how this works. More of a recipe. It's more of a learning recipe than it is a use it sort of recipe. So I don't know. Maybe I will do those. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to be doing a sample pack where I go through and I'm just going to use the recordings from, you know, experimenting and playing around with this on the video. And you'll be able to download those. I'll probably have a free version that has just like one sample of each recipe, and then I'll have another pack that's quite a bit more expanded, and that'll probably be on my Ko-fi page. Ko-fi, I don't know how to say that. K-O-F-I, Ko-fi, whatever it is. I thought about doing like a Shmatreon, but I decided against it because reasons. But so I'll be posting a video about that at some point too, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I'm gonna start getting into the sequencer and all of the, you know, what goes on in here, and that's going to be a multi video series too, where we're going to have to go through and talk about all the different things that happen, and we'll go from there. So anyway, thank you so much for watching my videos on the MiniBrute cookbook tutorial. This has been just like a labor of love for me because I really enjoy this synth. I really have had a lot of fun playing with it, learning and experimenting, and being able to share what I've learned, and you know, hopefully inspire or educate, or, you know, I'm a lover of music, and so if what I do helps someone else to make something, and, you know, I just that's what I'm here for. I'm just here to help people help themselves, so to speak, right? So as always, experiment, play around, have fun, see what you can come up with. You know, there's no wrong answers with any of this stuff. The only wrong answer is to just be scared to try. You know what I mean? So yeah, thanks for watching. Be a good person, and we'll catch you in the next one.